Welcome racers, this is Badgerman, and today we finally have the start of the GT World Series. It is the Nations Cup that was happening on Monday with this combination, the Mazda Roadster S 2015, a road car, around the Tsukuba circuit. And this is my first attempt. I did 3 in total. You will see how they all went, but obviously I will go into a bit of detail here. This is the first one. We're loading in a little bit of lag. I am on PS4, so that is to be expected. And a couple drivers I knew here. Chigur, who I raced against in daily races last week. Hizoka Hunter, who I raced against in some daily races last week. The rest were pretty new to me. No idea who they were. Yeah, I was ready. My body was ready for the Nations Cup. I did some practice in this car, and it is tricky. But we got to get through it. I am trying to get the S rating, and let's actually look at my best qualifying lap. I'm not going to show you the whole 7 minutes. We're just going to show the best qualifying lap. Here we are. We're going to start right there on the line. This was an awful lap. At this point, I've done a 12.3 already. Was in P7, but I wanted to improve, of course. Chigur right in front of me. And we take turn 1 quite nicely. A little bit of a slide there on exit. That was not the greatest, but we continue. Heading towards the second hairpin. Nice and late on the brakes. Let the car roll through a little bit. Start to get on the throttle. Again, a bit of a slide. A car going sideways. Was really on the limit here, and that wasn't even my best first sector. I could have been a lot better than I was, but I messed up the final sector. We have another car on the left here. The Spaniard in P9 behind me. He's not going to improve. This is the final lap as well. Nice and late into the final hairpin here. And then we only have 1 corner to go early on the exit as well. And we get a nice little slipstream. I don't know how much slipstream affects the car at this point. But you see Chigur there giving me a little bit of a tow maybe. That second sector was definitely a lot better. And then the final sector we're just trying to hold on. Nice to the inside, let the car run wide. You can use a lot of curb here, and we crossed the line with a 1 minute 12.2. It was a minimal improvement, but it was an improvement. P7 we did beat Zafra, and we stayed in P7 ultimately, so that's where we are going to start from. And heading to the race then. Look at the radar when it pops up. I was checking the fuel there, no point. Turned off the AC, turned off the TC. I also turned off the AC in the car because that's just using extra fuel. Look at the radar. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Someone played billiards in turn 1, and it wasn't me. I was the one on the receiving end ultimately. Down to second last. The driver who did that was Nourishment. Nourishment 92. Dirty, dirty driver there. Just didn't care about braking, just punted like 3 people. And didn't even get penalized for it. I was trying to avoid cars here then at this point. And yeah, we're down to 15th after starting 7th. Great start. And trying to make our way through the field. Thankfully, the Italian struggling a little bit. We get him here into the third and final hairpin. Then we lunge up the inside of the Austrian. He lets it happen, thankfully. And we get another position right there. So the comeback is on, well and truly. And we've got a couple more cars in our sights. I'm looking back to see if he is maybe not so happy with that move, because it was from quite far back, but he was also very hesitant on the brakes. And we thankfully get away from him a little bit here. You see the gap rise 8 tenths, 9 tenths a second now to the Austrian behind. And the Brit in front is our next target, Chigur as well. The Slovakian, Slovenian, I don't know which flag it is. They are very similar. Apologies to both of those countries and anyone watching from there. But either way, we get him and we get the Brit. So we get a twofer right there. But the Brit's coming back at us right here down the inside. He's having none of it. And he actually pushes us off the track here. Not the nicest thing to do. But okay. That's how you want to race. That's how we can race. I try to give Chigur as much space as I can. Unfortunately, I also slightly pushed him off there, but I think I gave him more space. And then The Brit tried to look up the inside of the Dane closing the door, and I thought, well, maybe around the outside it's gonna work. Nope, it's not. And then I try to get that slipstream, then I try to get this slipstream. The Dane has other ideas, pushes me away, slowed me down enough so that he can slot in, but not the smartest move in terms of awareness. I thought, you know what, let's take a wider entry and then cut back. And boy, it worked like a charm. We get the Dane right there. Up to P11. Well, we didn't get him just yet, but there we go. If you have the inside for turn 1, it's very likely. Then we get 2 more positions as the Italian spun and the Brit left the door open. So now we're up to 9th. That's a really good recovery. It took us 2 laps and a corner to make it up from 15th to 9th. After that, really just 2 laps actually. Because we weren't 15th before turn 1. So it took us exactly 2 laps to gain 6 places here. Now we're trying to set our eyes on the Spaniard in front. Unfortunately though, at this point the field has shaken out quite a bit, which means the fast drivers were near the front and had gaps to each other, and the slow drivers were near the back and had gaps to each other as well. So it got harder and harder to make up positions. You see the gap there, 1.3, plus I started to get a little bit unconcentrated, a little bit losing focus here. So yeah, it got harder and harder, and in the end not much else happened. A little bit of defending here and there from the guys behind, but in the end it was a P9 and I wasn't too happy with that result, so I decided to go again. So after that P9 I decided to try again. 1 hour later, I think that was the 6 p.m. run. It might have been the 7 p.m. run. I think it was 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. Central European. Second attempt at a qualifier. Unfortunately, though, everything went black. Got a black screen in the game. That was that. We have to try again. Had to close the application and everything. So this is the 3rd attempt now. I went off for 2 hours. Decided to just, you know, make myself some dinner and then come back, and this is what I was greeted with. Yeah. Nothingness. Big old nothingness. The car just standing in the garage. 2 photographers in front that wouldn't let me out, and it stayed that way. And you can take a guess in the chat now, in the comments rather. You can take a little guess. Pause the video right here and take a guess. How long was I waiting in that garage? How long, in minutes, was I waiting in that garage? There's not a prize on the line for anybody who gets it right, but take a guess in the comments. I want to see what you guys think. And maybe it happened to you and you were experiencing the same issue, but I can tell you, if you've unpaused the video now, it was 27 minutes. I am not kidding. I was sitting there for almost half an hour waiting for the game to continue. We skipped a little bit here. As you saw in the top left, we went down to 12 drivers by now. And I keep, you know, chatting with the other guys and maybe gals, I don't know. And we are down to 11. Someone was saying, no, I got engine sounds strange. I was like, I've had engine sounds the whole time. What are you talking about? For the last 20 minutes I put, but it was a bit more. I was like estimating at that point. But it was roughly 20 minutes. I thought, I've had engine sounds the whole time. What are you talking about? I will mute them, by the way, in case you're wondering, where are the engine sounds? I have muted them for the purpose of saving your ears. Let's say that. And the guy says, okay. And then he leaves. Another guy says, me too. And then he leaves. The guy who says, okay, who was like, I've had engine sounds, then leaves. And I did do a couple of cuts here. We're down to 9 runners. And then all of a sudden, out of absolutely nowhere, it all unclogged. But with 55 seconds remaining on the clock. And I was like, well, that's a bit... First off, it's very dark. Like, this is literally what I saw. I saw the beams of my car, and that was that. Car overtakes me around the outside. I was like, where did he come from? And we couldn't start another lap, of course. None of us could start a lap. So I started in P7. It's fun to drive around in the absolute darkness around a circuit that doesn't have any stadium lights, you know? That would be helpful to the track owners of Tsukuba. Might want to think about that, you know, installing a couple of more lights than you already have, you know, maybe sort of Bahrain style. But of course, no one was able to start a lap in time. 3, 2, 1. And that was that. And we immediately skipped to the final. Again, I did place a cheeky little cut there. But regardless, we skipped on to the final. It really ended immediately there. The black screen was still from the end of qualifying, and then I skipped to the final. So P7, again, we're starting in absolute dark. Well, not quite, but very, very dark indeed. In terms of daytime. It's more nighttime, really. And then we finally get underway. So another 7 laps. This time I did not use the traction control at the start, which I should have, quite frankly. Only 9 drivers, but the ones that are here are going to get a lot more points. So yeah, that's because the other ones that left still count towards our points. And I got pushed again in turn 1 because traditions, in the words of Valtteri Bottas. Lost a position there, but we're not done fighting. Got a car on the outside here. I decided to go early because I thought the Frenchman was going to go late, and well, lo and behold, went early, still got a position out of it. P7. And we are not done yet, in the words of Billy Mays. Frenchman gets a massive slide. I give him a cheeky little bump draft. German behind and the Spaniard have messed up. I tried to go for the lunge, give him a little love tap as he did in turn 1, give him another little love tap, and I'm alongside. But he got the better exit, and he gets a little bit, tiny bit of slipstream, which isn't much for these cars. Granted, they're very slow. You see 135, 140 kilometers an hour. It's not that much. But they do get a bit of slipstream, tiny, tiny amount. And it does help. So we slot in P7 for now. For now. Things are about to happen, though. Things are definitely about to happen. As there's the Swiss guy in P5 going very wide. I'm a bit eager on the throttle. The Frenchman slips through. I don't. Very unfortunate. I was hoping I could get through as well. Was not able to. But it's 7 laps. It's a long time. Try to get up the inside of the Swiss driver here. We got alongside, but around the outside here, underneath the Dunlop arc, not the best position, but we make it work somehow. I was very impressed with myself at the time, and watching it back, I'm still very impressed with myself. We got the position on the Swiss driver. Then I see the German and the Spaniard in P3, P4 battling. And that's always good. You want to see the cars in front of you battling because that means they slow each other down. And I thought, hey, a podium might be possible here. Unlikely, but possible. We go purple in the middle sector, but I think everyone's going purple at this point. And we cross the line with not a purple time anymore. It is blue, 13.1. The fastest lap now, 11.8. I could not match that. I actually went a bit too deep into turn 1 here and almost lose the car trying to get onto the throttle early. Thankfully, we stay ahead of the Swiss. We stay ahead of Moto by the skin of our teeth, but obviously lose touch to the Frenchman and the Spaniard in front now. So trying to cling that back again, going too early on the throttle. I was too eager with this car, and it shows. It really shows. It's such a struggle to get this car pointing the right way at all times and not overcommit, not be too eager on the throttle. It's tricky. And we're going to have to do that 3 more times in the Nations Cup. I don't think I will actually upload for those races unless something crazy happens in them. I think I will focus more on Manufacturer Series because that's where I think I have a higher chance of getting the S tier rating instead of the A that I currently have. And then again, I looked at my ratings and my point standings after the first race in each of them, and it doesn't look too great. 33rd in Germany after all this, and I think 27th on my manufacturer, which is Ford. So didn't choose the right one. If I had gone for another one, I could have been as high as 4th and easily gotten the S ranking. But you live and you learn, and I certainly do. In fact, I think there's one manufacturer where only 14 drivers have even started a race for that manufacturer in all of EMEA, in the whole region. So, could have chosen that one. Could have been number 15. But oh well. We stay here. The Frenchman has gone past the Spaniard. I thought, okay, if the Frenchman can get past with 3 laps to go, there's a possibility here. You know, we might have a chance at getting the Spaniard as well. If he seems a bit slow, it's certainly possible, but we had to be on our A game, and it was late in the evening. Well, for me, not really. I don't want to make any excuses. That's silly. I just wasn't on my A game. I just don't like these cars. This made me think of iRacing and the rookie Mazdas, and I've never done iRacing, but I've seen how many people struggle with these cars, and I thought, man, do they really have to put this into GT7 now as well? Of all games, Gran Turismo with rookie Mazdas? Please not. But here we are. And, yeah, trying to chase down Victor in P5, the Spaniard. Trying to take a lot more curb here now to really maximize track limits and hunt him down. 6/10. It's just not happening though, but we've got 2 more laps to go. I want to show you the race in full because these races are so short anyway. They're like, what, 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes maybe? They're so short that they're over in a heartbeat anyway, so I'm just going to talk over them. And, you know, we'll see if something happens. The Spaniard behind me, I'm in a Spanish sandwich. I guess you really never expect the Spanish Inquisition, but here they are. I was sort of starting to look behind me and thinking, do I have to defend more, or do I have to, you know, can I still look ahead? And I actually went defensive here just to hold him off because I knew it was only 2 laps and I would love to take a P6. Not just because it would mean a whole lot of points for the Nations, for me in the Nations Cup, but also as an homage to the man, the myth, the legend, Super GT. Obviously that is his position, and I tried to make him proud. So I thought at this point, you know what, I want to hold on to P6 and not lose P6 by looking at P5. So I went defensive into almost every corner where I thought the Spaniard Black Siam was close enough. And obviously the Spaniard in front, Victor, was just driving away at that point because I was going defensive. And I actually had 2 cars behind me, so I could have easily ended up dropping to P8 as well, which I certainly didn't want. I'd rather gain 1 than lose 2, but I'd rather stay where I am than lose 2. So that was sort of the thought process at the time. Spaniard goes a bit deep into turn 1. I thought, if he does that 1 or 2 more times, maybe we'll get closer. But then again, he got such a good run on the exit that I thought, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. I was overdriving the car at this point, maybe. A little bit. And so, again, I was just driving in the radar for the most part. I was just looking at the radar going, okay, I need to do everything I can, need to maximize track limits again right there under the Dunlop arc. And we've only had 1 more corner to go, and I thought, if he sends it from there, then he's an absolute fool. And he almost did. Look at how close he got on the radar there. I thought, sheesh, that was a bit too close for comfort. But we hold on for now. 1 more corner to go. And for some reason, he was just gaining so much on the straights, and I thought, how is this possible? I think there was an exploit where you were able to somehow tune the car, and he goes around the outside here, taps me once and twice. Thankfully, by the skin of my teeth, I hold on to P6 there. less than, no, just over half a tenth. And yeah, that was that. We finish in the Super GT position, P6 for us in the end. I'll take that. I will gladly take that. And now look what we get for an, what was it, 8.5 minute race? We get 6th, of course, but more importantly, we get 15,000 credits for an 8-minute race. And there you can see it, we got 146 points. It was there for just a second. 146 points I will take. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow for the Manufacturer Series. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.